newsworthy. But what caught my attention was Peter B's Enugu State visit yesterday, where a young woman, I don't know what that was about, like gathered her school fees, she had money she's been saving for her education, to give it to Peter Obi, went to the radio station where she knew he was going to be and made that presentation. He took it and they said, I'll call you back, I'll give you a call, something, I'll call you. And then he was also in Ebonyi State. And then for those who were saying P2B or the Labour Party does not have structure, I don't know if they are following the trade, because for them what structure means is having everybody, someone in every community that represents people, that can convince people. But we have been having inter-party campaigns where party tells us who to vote for, and not Nigerians choosing who to vote for. But there seems to be a change in the mix now, where you discover that Nigerians are seeming to deciding to make the choice themselves who they want to vote for, and they're not asking party or no party. But again, what's your take on this?
Well, looking at the fact that a young lady actually took her quote and unquote widow's mite and gave it to Peter Obi, to some extent it calls for attention. Say, when you look at it, people might want to look at it from the angle that, oh, she actually is a true Nigerian. Remember, even one of the mantras that the Labour Party is pushing forward is that the people are the structure. So that is another reality and the backing to the fact that people are actually the structure. If somebody can donate as little as they have. Now, there is an ideological underlining behind it, as long as that was not a pre-planned affair from the party. What I would say is ideological and cultural is because there is a meaning attached to it. I have given you my little. If eventually you win, don't forget or remember not to deprive me of what I'm supposed to get. So that's the takeaway for me.
That's quite interesting. Nigerians are waking up, and of course, for those who feel they have the big party structures like quotes and unquotes, the mass, the exodus, to put it, resignation in the APC is another sign to say that Nigerians are no longer comfortable with the usual inter-party play where the PDP comes, for instance, and says, vote for us. They are not saying vote for the individual. Our eyes have been covered over the years. We've been manipulated into thinking it's about political party. Yes, political parties have their place, but honestly speaking, we are at a point in our life as a nation right now where the party is not, because we've seen that literally there are no difference between the so-called big parties, as the case may be, but we are now looking at the individuals, because the individuals are the one who will step in to take a decision that will affect millions of people. So the big question is, do you have your PVC? Do you realize that is the most important smart device you can have? Because whoever you commit that to is saying, take the lead ahead of me in 2023, is going to go a long way to determine what happens to you and your loved ones. A lot has happened to us looking at political parties and giving them the play to decide who becomes our president. But I sincerely think that it's time for us to change the status quo.
Speaking about changing the status quo, Vivian, in my estimation, for as long as we've been running the independence in Nigeria, I think Nigeria has been placed on hire purchase. And it's time to take what rightfully belongs to the people back. Nigerians have come to learn a lesson from the issues of banditry, from the issue of terrorism as a blanket word, from the issue of poverty that is ravaging the country. Now, you look at a country where certain government was coming into power and was promising change, was promising to fight corruption, and they finally get into power. But when they got into power, it was even difficult for people that have earned a living earnestly to spend their money. People now stash away their own money that they've earned in credible manner, because they are afraid that the next step they would take would lead to some sort of litigation, saying they are corrupt and the rest of that. I was talking to somebody a couple of days back concerning the oil issues and the rest of it, and the person was like, I don't want to say anything on it. Anything you say in Nigeria now is an indictment. So the people are wiser. Hunger is teaching a lot of Nigerians lessons, and I think that they are ready to make the right choice come 2023.
All right, let's see that if we can find a way to change things for the better or for the worse than where we are right now. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back on ATN Blowouts this morning. Stay with us.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring honest pop news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honourable
You human trafficker.
Honourable they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Meet the people making the difference in our time on ATN Icons. Here, we present you legends celebrated for their heroism in different fields and serve as role models today. ATN Icons, showing every Sunday 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Atlantic Television Network, StarTimes DTH channel 194, ATN Live on Google App Store, Facebook Atlantic Television Network, YouTube Atlantic Television Network, Instagram Atlantic TV Network, Twitter Atlantic TV Net. For sponsorship 0810 634 1777. ATN Icons, celebrating the giants of our time.
The people, the candidates, the party, the campaigns. What really makes an election here? Enough of the rhetorics. It's time for issue-based politics. 2023 elections. Who are the candidates? What do you know?
To have you back here on to ATN Blowout this morning, and we are going straight to our first conversation. But before then, let's get to meet our resource persons. We have Comrade Chuba Obuzo. Good to have you on ATN Blowout this morning. And we have Chief Loveday Okere. Good to have you on ATN Blowout this morning.
Very much.
So while we get set to blow out, gentlemen, there are too many things going on in the country, but let's go straight to the first story. And that's on the Exodus resignation facing the Rivers APC as it is. We're wondering what is going on, but let's look at the latest one, and that's Toye Princefield Jettisoning Party and lament on Muslim ticket. Now, Toye Princefield is a faithful APC a member who has resigned from the All Progressive Congress, and in his resignation letter, he said he's a philanthropist and, of course, an investor. He said he appreciates the party leader in the state, that's Right Honorable Rotimi Chibika Amechi, and his efforts towards the party, lamenting on the recent decision of the APC in their choice of a vice presidential candidate. Onyeko decried the situation when he said, I cannot defend the decision of my party in fielding a Muslim ticket, especially at a time like this, against all protestations from all well-meaning Nigerians across religious and political divides. It sets a very wrong precedent. It is totally insensitive, and even if you win, to prove, as if the APC win, he means that is to prove bad for good governance. Toyin Prince said, under these circumstances, I find no justification to still remain in good conscience a member of a political party that subordinates electoral victory over the safety of lives and the peace of mind of its citizens. He, however, wished the party well and pledged to remain committed to defending the indefensible. All right. When Toyin Prince say he's defending the indefensible, Choba, if Amechi had won the tickets and if Amechi had chosen a northern Christian, do you think Toyin would have taken this decision?
First and foremost, the possibilities of the Honorable Minister for winning the ticket of the APC is neither here nor there for those of us who have been following the trend of the political class of the APC. However, I do not think it is not possible for anybody with the way the demographic in the Nigerian nation is today to have a Christian ticket. By now, the country should be imploding if it was a Christian ticket.
Okay.
It's not imploding because the masses do not want it. But the powers that be in this country, this is our reality. We're faced with it. I mean, it's a painful one and that. But trust me when I say that. The Honorable Minister would not be half as insensitive. Neither will he kowtow to whatever pressures of any powers that be anywhere to have picked up a Christian ticket. Obviously, the Muslim ticket or the zoning structure of the political parties when it comes to South and North, or North and South demography in the Nigerian political space is not enshrined in the Constitution, but it's just a measure to cause as a palliative to quell frayedness. But obviously, the APC had run a system that's, for those that are sane and are possibly looking at the system properly the way they ought to be, understands that the APC had not run their party as a political party for these 7 years. We had only been ruled, and going forward, it goes a long way to show you the mindset of the drafters of the APC as a political party. If you listen to Ahmed Bola Tinubu's speech when he announced Kashim Shettima as the running mate, you saw to it. He was speaking from a viewpoint where he understood that there were powers that were bigger than the Nigerian people herself. And after due consultation with people and all of that, this was the decision he has to take. Come on, for crying out loud. I can beat my hands on my chest very freely on this station to say, even if all the powers wherever stand behind the APC, cannot and will not win the 2023 election on this decision.
Okay, that's interesting. The powers that be, that's a word into you. But I'm coming to you now, Chief Loveday. Looking at the crux of the matter as it is, there is an exodus resignation that the APC in Rivers State is facing. It became more apparent after the announcement of Shettima. So from Ibim Seminatiri, the former NDDC director, and now to Toyin Prince, and of course, particularly Dawari George. A lot of people didn't see that coming because Dawari is really the quiet one. We have also seen him step out of Amechi's camp to support Oshibanjo, as the case may be. Understandably, she's a PR person. But bring it back to having Toyin Prince now step aside. These are the people that have been supporting, like Amechi, one of some of Amechi's strongholds in the States. What exactly, in your estimation, as a politician, do you think is going on in APC right now?
Thank you, Vivian. Let me say that I respect the opinion and the wish of Toyin Prince. He has a right to do what he has done. But I want to say I do not agree with the reasons for his resignation from APC. And I want to also put it on record that whether Ahmed Bola Tinubu has chosen a Christian vice or what he has already done now, there would have been no difference. Toyin Prince would have still left APC. I will give you the reason why I say so. The only thing that has kept Toyin Prince moving was because of the interest that he built on the person of Rotimi Chibika-Amechi, not necessarily the APC. Now, as Chibike Rotimi Amechi could not get the ticket, his next point of call is on Atiku Abubakar. Remember that when Atiku Abubakar contested for presidency, when he aspired some years back, when he was a candidate of ACM, President Princeway was governorship candidate for ACM in Rivers State. So there have been that alliance over time. So now that he didn't get what he's looking for through Rotimi Chibike Amechi, he has thought in his mind, and he may have also made the move that where I will get what I'm looking for is through Atiku Abubakar, which he has done. That apart, the only surprise I have over this resignation was that of Dawari George. I didn't see it coming.
You saw that of him being coming?
I saw that of him being coming.
Okay.
Anybody, but I didn't see that of Dawari George. And it surprised me mostly because in Rivers APC, it is true that they have torn apart, but not that I didn't write them off, because you cannot also, no matter how small a political party is, you can't write them off. Considering the country we are, Nigeria, where the man who was fourth position in Imo State is now the governor. So anything can happen at any point in time in Nigerian politics. But when you look at what has been happening in Rivers State, where you will be thinking that those who will leave APC, maybe to pursue their various ambitions, we are those who we are loyal to Senator Magnus Abe. We suspected that. But as I speak to you, the only personality that so far has resigned from APC on the part of Magnus Abe is Edachi Nwoka and Honorable Godin Choma, even though there may be other ones that their names are not, at that upper class. But the likes of Mogu Bonds are still for now in APC. Magnus Abe himself is in APC, and few other one, even though there is that rumor that they will leave. But within a twinkle of an eye, Celestin Akpobare left APC, he resigned. Dawari George resigned. Ibn Sebitari resigned. Toye Princeway resigned. And these are people who are allies of Rotimi Chibike Amechi, who you will not even think that something like that will come, meaning that there is something somewhere. And as a politician who tries to dig deep to know what is happening within the state, there is this rumor that majority of them will leave because the leadership, that there is no reward to followership in APC. They are also saying that the appointment of or this nomination or nomination of the current Minister for Environment, Minister of State for Environment, may have triggered this resignation in APC today, because people are seeing it that the one who is behind them, because in politics we say when you come, you kill. Okay. But the one who was far behind was choosing to be the minister over them. So they are not happy about it. So I still believe that there will be so many resignations. If you watch out since the past 2 weeks, you will see that the leader of APC Rivers State, Right Honorable Chibike Amechi, is very silent, quiet. The candidate of APC, Toyeko, is very quiet. Even some prominent members of APC, they are very quiet. The reason could be that they are waiting for all those who want to make a move to finish their movement, then they will not talk. Or there is something that is happening that we do not know.
Okay.
Because this is coming not just from Magnus Abe, part of this APC, but from the people that are in control of APC in Rivers State.
Now, you have rightly elucidated on some of the issue, but I want to quickly come to before we get to our next issue for this morning. A lot of people are also of the opinion that this could be a silent way that the former Minister of Transportation is sending a message across the APC National. Like the Chief Loveday rightly pointed out, he's been silent since the primaries. No one seemed to have heard anything aside when he came to Port Harcourt and insinuated that he's going to be making peace with Magnus Abe. But unfortunately, that seemed not to be the case, as a video we saw circulating the social media yesterday where Magnus was trying to tear Right Honorable Chibikorotimi Amechi down at every corner. But that's politics and all there is to it. Looking at the role of the APC, whether as a leading party, ruling party, or as an opposition party, there is a challenge, and that challenge is tied to one particular factor. Amechi seemed to be aggrieved over the outcome of the primary, APC primaries, no doubt about that. So do you think his silence and, of course, his core loyalists stepping aside right now could be a way of sending a message across to the nation that after the 17th of this month, if nothing is done with regard to Tinubu's certification and all that, do you think that's a way of saying we are going to step aside and this is our way of sending that message across?
For me, like I would want to start from, I want to look at it from this viewpoint. Sometimes in 2007, the governor of Rivers State vied for the presidency of this nation, and his campaign traversed the length and breadth of this country. And if you remember, Sir Peter Lee was a force, was a voice, and everyone who knew him, excuse me, supported him with everything that they had. But when he was asked to step down, the instructive part of it was that you saw his manner of decorum, the way he packaged and managed himself. And that we are not seeing from the two people or persons that are leading both the APC and PDP in Rivers State today. The Honorable Minister is not really speaking as the governor is, but they are acting in manners that are, to me, possibly not political, not smart for me, not applaudable for me. The obvious remains what it is. When young people vie for offices, political leaders come out to tell you the party is supreme. And the decision of the party begins to be binding on the young persons. And when young people take actions of this nature, you are almost crucified, vilified by every leader of the party. But when it comes to funny party stakeholders, as they so acclaim, because I call them acclaimed party stakeholders. Why do I acclaim them as party stakeholders? We are in a country today where the fundamental factors that are issues, that are burning issues, have not been attended to by anyone from the South. But when we are back home, everybody claims to be lions. Now, if you look at the actions of the Honorable Minister, your guesses are perfect. And it is even worse off because, like Chief Love said, many of them are not even really resigning because of conscience. Conscience on the grounds that the country is on our news today. But if the country is on our news today, a couple of months ago, two persons were burnt alive. One in Sokoto, one in Abuja. Today, those news and those issues are neither here nor there. Very shocking and instructive information I want us to ponder about as we speak. The person of Kasim Shettima used to be the governor of Borno State. On the 25th of December 2013, the Catholic Church was bombed by a man called Kabiru Sokoto, who is allegedly second in command, or was allegedly second in command to Yusuf, the founder of Boko Haram. And in August, Kabiru Sokoto was arrested or apprehended in Asokoro, in the Borno State government lodge. 5 days before his nomination, Kabiru Sokoto and other leading terrorists had absconded from the Kuje Correctional Center. And today, he is now the vice presidential candidate of the ruling party.
I'd like to pause you here real quick, Chuba. You just made a very bogus analysis of an issue. I'd like to go back to that and lay better emphasis, just in case we miss something. Kabiru Sokoto, the link you're trying to elucidate on the links between Kabiru Sokoto and Shettima, the now vice president of the APC candidate, vice presidential candidate of the APC. Please, let's go back on that.
Now, listen. Kabiru Sokoto was apprehended by the DSS in the Borno government lodge in Asokoro. Who heads the government lodges of every state? The governors.
Correct.
And then Shettima was the Kasim Shettima was the governor of Borno State. 5 days after their jihad, absconding the Kuje Correctional Center, we have Tinubu come out to say, you read, I get the documents everywhere. After consultation and for the fact that they need to win, you now ask yourself, what is the pedigree and what are the antecedents of Kasim Shettima in a very constructive electionary time as such? Whether we like it or not, the Obi emergence has raised the bar from a collapsed place it was. That for those who do not know, the obvious remains that we have, like you observed, the Minister of Transportation is quiet, but the Governor of Rivers State is not. These are two characters at a peculiar time. Same way as the Governor of Delta, who happens to be the running mate to Atiku Abubakar, is a quiet type, but they call him the political Maradona. Then who is Kasim Shettima? And what are his political antecedents and what's it called? Profits to the APC at this point in time? These are questions that journalists, you need to sit before MS and ask him.
That is, if we can get to have to sit with him to ask him if we can find him, if we can get that. But Chuba, the whole conversation is getting a bit chilly. It's getting a bit scary this morning. But let's quickly go into something else. Chief will come back to you real quick. And of course, good morning, Patience.
Good morning, Vivian. Thanks for having me.
And of course, good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Vivian. Thanks for having me.
All right, good to have you. Now let's go to our second story this morning. And still on election 2023, Kaduna clerics team up drum support to mobilize 1 million votes for Obi ahead of the 2023 general elections. Now, a popular Kaduna Christian cleric, Pastor David Ayuba Azaman, has vowed to mobilize 1 million votes for the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi. Pastor Azaman expressed this in an interactive section with journalists in Kaduna at his church, the King Worship Chapel and Ministries Incorporated, Sabon Tasha. The cleric said, I would tell Nigerians today, let us vote Peter Obi. Peter Obi must get 1 million votes in Kaduna, which we would mobilize for. Speaking further, he said that he was happy that Obi's running mate, Dati Ahmed, is a Muslim from Zaria and a credible candidate. Let Christians stand up, let reasonable Muslims stand up and deliver Peter Obi in 2023 to set Nigeria on the path of prosperity. A new Nigeria is coming when our Naira will be equal to $1 and we will be leading exporters and the land will prosper, he assured. Now, Azman, who has branches of his church in the U.S. and other parts of Nigeria, said that God is going to bring resources to Nigeria to play a leading role in world affairs. On affairs in Kaduna State, he called on citizens to get their permanent voters card to do so and ensure credible leaders that will promote their interests. What caught my attention here, Chief, is the fact that he said that they want to give 1 million votes to P2B, and he's going to mobilize for that. Is that all that Kaduna is worth, political permutation-wise?
Just like as I said before, everybody is entitled to his opinion, especially when it has to do with politics in an election period. But I want to say that it would have been very possible, all things being equal, it would have been very possible if it was before, when we do not have the BVAS kind of method of election now, where we believe that our vote we count through the electronic medium. It will be very possible where once they agree, they can go into one small room, write a result, 1.5 million, 2 million from each state, and they will dose it out to support any candidate they want to support. But as it is now, anybody saying he will give or you will allocate, it's no longer possible. The only way you allocate that is through the PVC, people coming out to vote, actually, by convincing them. But I want to say something here.
Okay.
I'm a member of People Democratic Party. And for you to win an election, and for you to, the intention of you being a member of any political party is for you to win an election. It is only the only gateway for you to render service to the nation. If you don't win an election, you go back to your business, go back to your home, especially in Nigeria, where winner takes it all. I want to say that any political party that is in Nigeria today, be it the ruling party, APC, or the major opposition party, PDP, and any other party, need to be very, careful in the sense that the kind of wave coming from Labour Party for B needs to give everybody worry. It's very worrisome in the sense that it has never been like this in this country. The only time something like that looks like this happened was when APC merged in 2014. You know, they used social media that was led by Lai Mohammed and every other persons. But this one now is so revolutionized in the sense that majority of the youth and the elites are queuing up here. It is also fearful in the sense that the two major political parties have made they have committed some very serious political offense. And what are these offenses? The PDP decided to bring in a candidate from North after, when they know that President Muhammad Buhari will leave office in 2023 May, having served for 2 tenures, 8 years from northern part of the country. APC decided to go and choose a running mate from the same religion that their candidate is coming from. I agree that anything about religion, Muslim or North and South, is not in the Constitution. But it is part of our tradition. It is part of it. We are used to that. Yes, I also agree that we can't keep on doing something and expect different results. But perhaps the two political parties, the leaders may have sit down, thought about it. After all, Ahmed Bola Tinubu had a placeholder for some weeks and decided to come up with Shetima, meaning that he may have considered everything possible. If there was time, maybe I would have analyzed to you how I feel that what may have informed his choice of Shetima. Okay. I would have dived into that to see that, because in this country, you will see that political awareness is more in the West in terms of going for what they want. And he has secured the West fully. And he's thinking that if I secure the vote from the West fully, then I can go and get 50% or 40% from the North and scrap whatever I will get from South. I will win election. Unlike Atiku, who do not even know where to stand now, because the North is divided, the South is divided, he can't even go to the West. So P2B has taken advantage of these mistakes and is moving on very seriously. So nobody should play down on P2B, because if everything is to go by real election in this country, if there is no manipulation, if the election is going to be credible, I fear that there could be surprises coming from the part of P2B. But as a member of People Democratic Party, who believe in my political party, I still believe that the party will try as much as possible to consider some of these factors before they take their decisions, because it is affecting the decision of even the party members, okay, both in APC and in PDP. So as we stand today, nobody even knows who will be the next president of this country. Unlike before, when before the election, you already knowing who will be the next, who will succeed. It's not like that now, because the two major political parties have committed political blunders.
All right, Patience.
Okay, thank you very much for bringing me on this topic. Now, there have been a lot of chanting and support on social media concerning the aspirants, talking about Peter Obi. Now, the question is, do you see the Labour Party taking over the presidential seat in the forthcoming 2023 general election?
That's for you, Chuba.
If I want to be fair, Patience, I would like you to understand that we have 774 local governments, 182,000 polling units, 8,789 wards. And with the political analysis already on ground, on the surface thinking, Peter Obi will just win elections because the people want Peter Obi. But trust me when I tell you that. When you talk about structures, the Labour Party has to ensure that she has gotten 182,000 people on ground. And with the massive registration, there will be more polling units. That will rise to about 200,000. Now your agents must be there, genuine, trusted agents, not people that are wishful thinkers. Because you cannot come there and say, I'm standing as an agent for Peter Obi. Who nominated you? How did you get here? Now, let me even make it, these are free guides, political guides you're giving to the Labour Party on your station now. Go to Imo State. The emergence of the Labour Party's senatorial candidate of Owerri Central is Martin Agbasi. Go to Olu. These are people that are staunch faithfuls of the present governor of that state. They left the state, the rumor has it how they left and left the party, the rumor has it how they left and who funded them. Now Labour Party is hurriedly trying to put up a structure where Peter Obi would have 2,500 votes. If your agent says it's 25 votes and the 3 zeros are lost, who contests that? Your agent assigned to it. So these are the intricacies attached to the Peter Obi's emergence. However, on the surface analytical viewpoint, the two leading political parties, like Chief said, they have committed political blunders, which we can, if we want to be fair to our consciences, we can trace to our own, our very own, the ones that are from us, from the South, how we sold out the process, sold out ourselves to bringing us to this point. Because for the People's Democratic Party, for those crying foul, the People's Democratic Party have packaged herself in the manner she should have. Peter Obi should have been the flag bearer of the party today. Because at some point, even the person of Atiku Abubakar pleaded with some persons in the party, telling them, if you microzone into Southeast, I will step down. But people that believed that they were political calculators and they knew what they were doing refused. And here we are today. So, very quickly and very straightforwardly, if elections are to go free and fair, and the processes are electronic as they should be, it will be a landslide. But if it has to go through a political permutation and analytical viewpoint, trust me, you can equally be shocked again.
All right, Chief, just 30 seconds on this.
Okay, I would have agreed with
Chuba.
My friend Chuba here, but the reason why I won't agree with him, hook, line, and sinker, is that this is Nigeria, and we are talking about election in Nigeria, and that election in Nigeria, I mean, is that if you speak, as we speak now, the 36th state of the federation, there is the Labour Party is not in control of any of those states. And if you're talking about winning election, it is all about interest. What will I get at the end of the election? How will I benefit from the system? Because the interest of every politician is to win election, get something for myself, and serve my people. That is what we have in mind. So now, if I am a leader in the state, in River State, I have people who are loyal to me, and those people who are loyal to me knows that I'm in a so and so political party, and they believe that if I win, they will benefit. But if the other party win, the likelihood that the person will come to meet me is not there, because they may not even know whether I voted for them or not. Because in this River State now, there are still people who are members of Labour Party who are, interfacing with the P2B team one-on-one. But if I say, because of the way the country is, let me just, or because I'm angry with my political party, let me just give it away to the Labour Party, they may not recognize me when they win at the end of the day. So for this reason, some of those who are in these two political parties, even when they are not happy with the system, they will still try to, bring in their candidates to win election, and then manage and see what they, squeeze out of it. Even when we are all, that is one thing that is dangerous in Nigerian kind of policy. But if it wasn't Nigeria, with what is happening from P2B's team, well, I will tell you that P2B would have win election in Nigeria.
All right, we will continue to follow that conversation and bring you the analysts and the stakeholders to give their take as we follow the news from ATM. But let's go to our third story for this morning, and that's State of the Nation. Mossop in a tirade with Gumi over comments on IPOP and P2B. The movement of actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra, Mossop, has lambasted Sheikh Gumi on his assertion that pro-Biafra agitation has slowed down in the region because of P2B's emergence as presidential candidate for 2023. Reports from various quarters have it that the controversial Islamic cleric, in a statement on Monday, said the emergence of P2B as a presidential candidate for the coming election has brought relative peace to the southeast. He had claimed the activities of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, in the region decreased since the Obi movement started. But Mossop, in a statement by its leader, Uchenna, said the comment by Gumi on the pro-Biafra agitation was deceiving and full of falsehood. Mossop and other pro-Biafra agitators have been in the self-determination struggle for Biafra actualization and restoration. We are not clamoring for the occupation of an Igbo man to be Nigeria's president. Our agenda is known. Our mission is stated. Our position is unshakable and uncompromised, and our goal is to actualize an independent state of Biafra through the principles of non-violence. We can never be cowed or intimidated by the chief patron and negotiator of the terrorist movements ravaging the entire northern region and the rest of Nigeria in pursuit of President Muhammad Buhari's Islamic agenda of Islamizing Nigeria, the group declared. Mossop and other pro-Biafra organizations have nothing against Mr. P2B and his intention to save Nigeria from further collapse. He believes in Nigeria, we believe in Biafra. If Nigerians elect him based on his competency and pedigree as their new president, does it concern Mossop? It's not our business. The group says Mr. P2B is not the first person to contest the presidential election since September 1999, when they started the Mossop non-violent self-determination struggle. They advised Gumi to focus his energy more on the Kuje prison break rather than joining P2B with issues that's not in any way related to him. Now, this is where we find ourselves, Mossop and Gumi. Gumi is becoming suspicious. Some people are of the opinion that Gumi seems to be uncomfortable, that the Southeast seems to be receiving some kind of peace, relative peace, since the P2B presidency picked up. But again, how realistic is that compared to the fact that you can't really tell what is going to happen because IPOB is here, they are not saying anything. Mossop is neither interested in the Nigerian presidency that P2B is fighting, Nigeria that P2B is fighting to protect. But again, Gumi's position is one that gets people questioning what exactly is his point in bringing all this to bear. Comrade Chuba.
For me, you see, if you read through the length of the Gumi's article, he equally went on to talk about the Video struggle as it equally had died down for the emergence of Tinubu's interest. But the obvious is, what bothers people like us is what exactly is really Gumi's interest in the Nigerian state. Because Gumi's interest in the Nigerian state is becoming very scary. At some point, Gumi was a sheikh one of the sheikhs I really do respect it. But the stance of Gumi lately are giving us so many concerns, so many issues to bother about or to ponder over. Because so far so good, if you observe, go and look at the INEC register. The Southeast has the lowest number of registered people, clearly showing you that they are not really in tune with the Nigerian state as it is today. One would say, way back to September 1999, at Ekweme's loss to Obasanjo and the decisions of the nation stakeholders at the time to make it entirely a southwestern struggle, upon which
I sent you.
Ogbonnaya Onu stepped down for Olufalaye at the time. It is important and imperative to understand that I think one of those things that were things that trumped up the Mossop movement. But these movements were supposed to be checkmates of government excesses. And I think that's what they ought to have been doing. Now, if Gumi is a true Nigerian and he sees some level of peace both in the west and in the east, it's something to applaud. But not relate it to the singular fact that we want to bring the people down to the level of normal politicians who just want to win elections, and to win elections, that is all to it. It goes beyond there. The struggle for the Biafra has always been there. But the way successive governments have managed these agitations had been what had kind of kept it low. But this administration was completely clueless, completely insensitive, completely cared of no one, and gives a lot of reason or credence to the local parlance analysis of an Islamic agenda, which is disturbing. Because whether we like it or yes, for this water bill to be coming into, to be sneaked in again into the National Assembly, it is so painful, so disturbing. And if someone like Gumi cannot see these serious issues to be on the front burner of his official handles, and makes Dr. Peter Obi's issue and Tinubu's emergence to become one of which he wants to politicize, but this is just trying to politicize a very clear situation. Whether we like it or yes, the relative peace the East is enjoying today, whether we accept it or not, we cannot completely throw away the Gumi's thoughts, line of reasoning. But coming from him at a time as such, these are the issues that talk about the sensitivity of the people who are supposedly leaders and how low they have equally looked at the Nigerian state. Yes, you are not supposed to shun that out in public domain. You can speak that in your little gatherings as a view. It does not mean that you are prophesying anything or trying to poke people on angles or on issues that you know will bitter them.
Very quickly, Chief Lovedale Kerry, the issue, Gumi coming into this, to a lot of people he's trying to poke the Southeast, he's trying to see how he can stoke the violence, get them to ginger up again and get the conflict entrepreneurs, like we say, to begin to show that, oh, we're not keeping quiet because of P2P. So what is your take on this, sir?
Well, Gumi is standard. Each time Gumi speaks, you hear the voice of Jacob and the hands of Esau. When each time he speaks, you will understand that he is actually speaking words that are coming from other person's stomach. I say this because when you look, since President Muhammad Buhari assumed office, there have been this suspicion from certain quarters that he has this penchant of trying to Islamize the country, even though so many persons have seen it that it is really impossible. But when you look at the sequence of events, all this while, you will understand that some of the suspicions, because they said in every spread of rumor, there could be some atom of truth. Whenever there is any activity coming from the Islams or even the one that is the patron, the herdsmen, you will hear the president talk. He has never said anything condemning the activity in this country. But you remember when IPOB struck, it didn't take Mr. President up to 1 month to, tag them terrorist group, and they were disbanded. Now, this statement that is coming from Masob now, I won't take it serious. The reason being that in Southeast, we have Masob and we have IPOB, even though they may not differentiate who is member of Masob and IPOB. But from a formal point of view, why I say I won't take it serious is that if there is any thing we describe as disturbing in Southeast, it is not coming from the quarter of IPOB, Masob. It is from IPOB. And IPOB did not come to debunk what Gumi have said here. The question you and I should ask ourselves is, in the past 1 month or 2 weeks, is there relative peace in Southeast? If there is relative peace in Southeast, then we may begin to say, okay, it's very possible that Obi's emergence is trying to bring peace. Because there is no way somebody will come up to contest election and is making this wave from my region and I'm putting fire in that particular region. I'm saying that the person should lose. And these are basically some of the calculations that the likes of Atiku Abubakar and Tinubu have calculated to take certain decisions they take. Remember that when they were canvassing for votes during the primary elections, you are very much aware that Ahmed Bola Tinubu did not come to Rivers State to canvass for votes. Are you aware of that?
We don't even think he came to any of the southeast states.
No, he did. He came to some of the southeast states and also south. But he didn't. I know very, very well that he didn't come to Rivers State. Why didn't he come? Because he knows that even if he comes to Rivers State 20 times, he will not get one vote because of Rotimi Amechi's factor. So they are also believing that Southeast is neither here nor there. And if you look at the voting pattern in this country, Southeast has never given up to even 20% of registered votes in their own region. You will see where we have 1 million votes, and at the end of the day in the election, you see 200 persons, 200 votes coming out. It has been there. I don't know if the trend will change now. So these calculations has been there over time. So if Masop has come to deny this, are they saying that they will want to continue the crisis, or they are saying that the peace they are enjoying today, or they are likely to enjoy, is not as a result of Obi, or the coming of Obi does not make any contribution? Gumi may have seen that and decided to raise that. And for Gumi to say this, he also have his own ulterior motive to say that, either to strike another set of crises, because when he said this, he tried to bring conflict. People will not challenge and say, okay, since you say this, we are going to strike a crisis again. He just tried to psych on their psychology to see whether they can just do something again. They should start the war again in Southeast. But I want to use this video to tell the people of Southeast, if the reason you have done what you are doing now, if the reason why we have a relative peace in Southeast is because of Obi, maintain it now and even after, because it will pay you more good. And that does not stop your agitation for secession. You can secede, you can agitate without killing your people, without causing crisis, without coming up with anything like that looks like a unknown gunmen killing people here and there. Okay, so because when you bring war to your vicinity, to your community, it is that community that will suffer. People that are outside, every day we hear of a killing in Borno, Katsina, Kaduna, several parts of northeast and northwest in particular. Is it the people of how many persons for Rivers State are dying there? It is still the people within that area, even though they are Nigerians. So it is very, very good for us to maintain peace and ignore statement of Gumi and maintain whatever we are doing and focus on, if our focus is to support Obi, we'll come out wholeheartedly and give their vote to Obi. Even if he didn't win at the end of the day, you have satisfied their conscience, because we believe that in 2023, our votes will count.
All right, thank you very much. You've loved day. Comrade Chuba, Patience, and Chris will be right back on ATM Blowout. But let's take a short break and we'll come back to the issues on ground.
Take a seat, relax, and join us for the 2023 elections on Atlantic Television Network, StarTimes, DTH, Channel 194, or ATN Live on Google Play Store and all our social media platforms. Twitter is at Atlantic TV Net. Facebook and YouTube is at Atlantic Television Network. On Instagram is at Atlantic TV Network. Elections 2023 from Mondays to Fridays at 8 p.m. Election 2023. We the people have a stake.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing. You human trafficker.
They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
thematic Blowout, where we've been discussing pertinent issues concerning the politics and the arena in Nigeria. And right now we'll move over to another story that we have in our hands concerning the 2023 presidency, where a particular Muslim group is saying Tinubu lost our allegiance the moment he opted for a Muslim ticket. Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, the All Progressive Congress presidential candidate, has been criticized by Christian of northern ancestry for selecting a Muslim as his running mate, following an emergency meeting of the group in Abuja, where the topic of the religious coloration of the APC's presidential ticket and its implication for the nation was on the front burner. They made their position known in a communique sent to the press on Tuesday. It's one that if the selection of Senator Kashim Shettima as the party's vice presidential candidate is not reversed before July 15, there will be serious and grave consequences. The Christian politicians in the 19 northern states within APC met in Abuja to deliberate on the issue of the party's Muslim president and vice president candidate and the implication for the nation. The meeting decided as follows: that as Christians within APC, we cannot, in all fairness to our conscience and our faith, go to our various constituencies to campaign for a Muslim ticket. Nigeria is a multi-religious and a constitutional democracy and not a theocracy. The current political atmosphere of the nation is different from what occurred in 1993, and therefore a Muslim ticket is unacceptable. The selection of a Muslim vice presidential candidate portrayed insensitivity to the Christian in the nation. The fear of the Christian in the north and the nation in general is that the APC party would be viewed as an Islamic party and that the Muslim ticket was not possible in 2015. Why should it be possible in 2023? More so that we are apprehensive the person they picked might have had a hand in the Chibok girls saga and other terrorist activity. Interesting there. Comrade Chuba, you've seen how the whole issue is being read out. What is your take on this matter?
The last Vivian was trying to, she said she has some chills, and the chills are obvious, and you cannot take them away from her or from the Nigerian people. MK took rather than take away access when he was demonstrating. The Nigerian state, first of all, educationally were far backward, far behind times. The Nigerian people were far unpolitical at the time. The nation was far from threats of religious enshrine or religious superiority at any level. Taking you back to 1991 during the Zango-Qatar War, you could remember what the head of state there, then, Babangida said. He said, on no account should anybody bring anything close to the constitution, Sharia. I give it to him because the Zango-Qatar that erupted in Katsina State at the time made him understood that, look, no one really has a monopoly of violence. But because the Nigerian political space had come into a democracy where some people had cleverly orchestrated themselves and had positioned themselves in edge offices where they are now having the kind of the powers to themselves. If you listen to Sanusi Lamido, he once said, the people of the north, some people from Islamic northern extraction are applauding President Muhammadu Buhari today. But do not forget that one day a Sultana will become president too. And if a Sultana has this sagacity and this penchant for superiority like the president that we have today does have, will not follow the processes of agitations, of IPOP, of documentations, talking about secession, the lateral process, or will it all just resort to armed struggle and violence? These are questions a lot of people have refused to ask themselves. And when we look at where Tinubu and the APC is coming from, it clearly shows you, I've told you, I've drawn my coordinates, and until the DSS and the APC comes to debunk my coordinates remains my fears. And what are my fears? The connectivity between the former Borno State governor in respect to terrorism in this country and the Kuje prison attack in respect to his announcement. These things have to be deciphered, put on the floor, explained to the Nigerian people going forward. On a normal day, these are issues that are not supposed to be left for Chuba to be talking on ATN. But the political stakeholders from the south should be the ones blowing these things out of proportion. For the Nigerian state to be aware, there should be an awakening, a quickening of the Nigerian people's emotions and understandings. We are playing with so much in this country. For the first time in our nation's history, the Federal Character Commission, which is saddled with the responsibility of checkmating the exercise of executives in how to balance political offices and appointments, took this administration to court. When President Muhammadu Buhari, out of 32, had appointed 28 from his northern Fulani extractions, and they took it to court. This is not the normal arrangement. But people still came and applauded. These are people you know. These are people you can trust. He wants to work with trusted hands, and this is where the trusted hands have taken us to. On the security issue, that is almost Islamic in all its formation, because we at a point we had 17 out of the 17 paramilitary sectors that sit at the Executive Security Council. 15 of them were not Fulani Muslims at some point of this country. So that sitting could confidently be organized or done on a what you call with Fulani language. And when you look at this with this kind of arrangement, bringing someone that is from his own people, talking about a connectivity that is yet to be cleared. Do not forget Interpol has given us a list of people that are terrorizing this country. And under his administration, they say this, they're not going to shame them. They're working underground to solve the problems. But this same country can call and shame anybody from anywhere else outside. I don't want to go there.
All right.
But trust me, we are in a very precarious situation, and the APC is not even a party to talk about when it comes to the national elections.
All right, Comrade Chuba, many questions there begging for answer. But over now to you, Chris.
All right. So now, looking at the issue on ground now, and then what is going on right now, whereby they are complaining that Tinubu chose a Muslim, and all of that. I am coming from the angle of the Boris Johnson era in the United Kingdom. If all of these people start resigning and backing off and all of that, will it make Tinubu to change his mind? I'd like to know.
I think he has. Today is already. We have some time to do that changes or make those changes, effect them. I think Mogono is a Christian, and I think he has served this administration for as long as I understand the administration as a system. And one would have expected these arrangements possibly to be brought to the fore. But where we are today, it's an obvious arrangement from people that do not. For me, they don't mean well for this nation. They are so insensitive, like the 7 years we have experienced under the Muhammadu Buhari led administration, and that insensitivity is now equally metamorphosing into what the decisions of President Bola Tinubu is taking and making as a measure. Because we cannot pretend that if we want to have a genuine census in this country to calculate the number of Christians in respect to the number of Muslims in this country, I beg to differ that the Muslims will be more in Nigeria than the Christians are. But even in a multi-ethnic country like ours, someone who says he was a former senator, someone who says he's a former governor, someone who is aspiring for the office of the presidency of this country, is so clueless and insensitive to the emotion and religious sentiment that this administration has blown out of proportion. Trust me, these sentiments have always been there, but they have been managed by successive governments. We have always known that there is a dichotomy between the north and the south, and it has always been so. But this administration has brought presidency to the all-time lowest. And Bola Ahmed Tinubu has just come to equally entrench that lowest standard of it and insult our general sensitivity. It doesn't have to be because Chuba is a Christian and upon that strength, Chuba wants a Christian. No. If Dr. Peter Obi, with all this, the support is getting now, genuine support, not support of party structures. Not support of people that want to be beneficiaries from his administration to say come and collect contract or come and buy this. No, support of genuine Nigerians who are in pain, impoverished together. If he dares to say he wants to pick a Christian from the north, trust me, this support would have collapsed, even from the Christian community from the south, because it would have doomed going nowhere. But we are talking about this today is because there is an oligarchy of evil penchant persons who have orchestrated themselves and have positioned themselves in offices for too long. And I begin to see themselves as demigods. But we should not forget the closeness of Moshood Abiola with that of IBB at the point in time. Did not even make that election see the light of day, even though the election was considered free and fair. And we should not. I don't think it's the path Nigerians want to go through once again.
All right, Comrade Chuba, the interesting time that we live in now, which is we're in a very divided state as a nation, it has never been like this. One wonders, with the President Buhari's administration and how they've been going about things, which you have also elucidated in your last take to Chris's question. The issue of Shatima as a running mate. Nigeria is, everybody is talking about religion right now. We're not talking about competence. We're not talking about issue-based politics. Everybody is talking about religion. Everybody is defending their faith as a result of the APC's decision for a Muslim ticket and the person of Shatima, which is in question right now, about the Chibok girls and his involvement with Boko Haram sponsors or the Boko Haram themselves. Do you see a way out of the religious quagmire that we find ourselves now to lead us to a better 2023 going forward?
Vivian, your question is political but straightforward. I'll try to answer as well, political but straightforward. Two forces in life are strongest. And what are the two forces? Love and hate. Whether you like it or not, love and hate are the two forces in life that are the most strongest pivoting forces anyone could claim to. Because of love, we have seen people die for it. One is our Lord Jesus Christ. We have seen Romeo die for Juliet because of love. And we have seen people equally die for hate because of anger, which brings to hate. It has gotten to that point where people die for it. Now, if you look at the Christian religion, Jesus coming around, what was he preaching? Love. Muhammad coming around, what was he preaching? Peace. Marry these two things together, upon which a Nigerian state called themselves Christians and Muslims is so strongly divided. Yes, if you marry love and peace together, it's heaven on earth. Now, one begins to wonder and begs for answers. Why would the people who love so much, and why would the most peaceful people be the most hurtful, and the most loving people be the most hateful? Now it goes to tell you that we are just religious by lip services. In our actions, we are lovers and servers of money, fame, and power. And that quest of money, fame, and power, it is on public domain. We have seen government houses where people fill forms to become anything or to attend to any offices. Without those forms, we go nowhere. But the beauty of the life that we live is that people fail to realize that austerity will always judge us all. Our activities must be judged. Now, what are the antecedents of Kashim Sweating? Back to your question. You are a journalist. You are supposed to be the best place to come and reel out. Kashim Shettima is an eloquent personality, an erudite student from the prestigious University of Cambridge. He was governor of Borno State, so peaceful at the time. He built this, he made this happen, he did that, he made that happen. But hell no! What we are looking at today is a Kashim Shettima that spent 8 years in government, and that is what the Boko Haram thrived, grew to where it is today, and right under his watch as governor, the second in command of the Boko Haram sect, who had claimed and had owned the mandatory bombing of the Catholic Church on 25th of December 2013, was apprehended by the same government he served. And that same Kashim Shettima, who his own people are poking to have a connectivity with the Chibok girls kidnap, is now the running mate of the ruling party's presidential candidate. In the light of all of this, can you in good conscience tell yourself that if any sane person, in quote and unquote, that is a possible, a genuine religious Muslim, with this analysis you are getting from us today, and every Christian, whether you are Christian by lip service or Christian by just by faith, with all the analysis you're getting today, and you are a party faithful of the APC, and you are clamoring to vote for the APC, on what criterion is your conscience built? Because to me, I will be waiting to get the curriculum detail of Kashim Shettima to let us understand that this is what he has done and his capabilities to make us move forward as a person.
All right, questions. Thank you very much, Comrade Chuba. Those pertinent questions is asking there. We hope they serve as a green belt to many Nigerians to drive home the message of electing the right leader. But right now, let's run into issues relating to ASU strike, where academics are dragging Buhari over his eager-to-go comments and insists he means no good for Nigerians. A political science lecturer at the Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, Dr. Muhammad Dusami, has berated the federal government for making comments that would further jeopardize and create fear in the polity. Dusamane said the All Progressive Congress Party APC government had pushed everyone into a journey of no return as poverty, slavery, and criminal attacks have become the order of the day. Dr. Dasuma was reacting to the president's comment in a statement by his SSA on media and publicity, Gao Bashew, while receiving some governors of the APC, legislators, and political leaders at its residence in Daura, Katsina State during the El Kabir celebrations, claiming he was eager to go. Dr. Mo Mohammed, who was a Nigerian by birth, said the country is a bit better where he started lecturing immediately. The APC took over, things became worse. He said no matter the situation, a president ought to have courage, encourage Nigerians by giving them hope, even where there's no hope. For a president who is equal to and as a father of the nation to start creating fear, putting fear in people, it means he has nothing to offer Nigerians, he said. He said lecturers have since down-tooled, bandit attack keeps spreading, job losses, and university students are still at home. Yet the president has not thought of how to solve all these problems. Dr. Mohamed, who said he is already awaiting for an air ticket to his country home, said he could not wait for any negotiation whatsoever as he sees nothing coming out of it. Comrade Chuba.
Yeah, it's a very painful one at that, and I join my voice to Dr. Mohamed Malame. The obvious remains that Dr. Dosamu and all academians should hear very clearly. We have looked at the Nigerian state and we have looked at the Nigerian people and we just only shed tears. And why is that so? Honorable 7th Ogun on the floor of the parliament raised a bill that we have aided for more than 10 years to see the light of day. And honorable members of that parliament shut down that bill. And lecturers, Nigerian students, Nigerian activists, all of which kept mute. Days after that bill was shut down, Nigerian women came to went to the Senate building to go and protest. And I was like, what is really wrong with us? The Nigerian state is where it is today because of the docility of our people, not the wickedness of our leaders. Because I, for one, I say it with all sense of respect for all of political office holders. But what is the reality? The reality is this: you applaud evil people, you celebrate them, you bow for them, you sing praise them. Because why? There is a peanut you want to receive. That bill was programmed to manage the excesses of the Nigerian political class, public office holders. We're talking about strike. He said the lecturers are down tools. To which benefit? To which interest? The 13 persons on that panel going for a negotiation with the Minister of Labour. How many of them have their words in Nigeria schooling? The Minister of Labour and his entire team, how many of them have their words in Nigerian schooling? The entire Nigerian state of all public office holders, from all their Labour Congress and TUC leaders, how many of them have their words in Nigerian schooling? And we went on to say, I have sat in my house in the comfort of my own quietness with other persons to modify that bill and said, it is not we're not going to only regulate the academic sojourn of political and public office holders, but equally their health sojourn. Because I put it to you for free. Today, by God's virtue of grace, the governor of River State is doing about 10 flyovers in Port Harcourt. Why is that so? He's got an edifice in Port Harcourt. If he has an edifice in Baramatu, we'll be talking about roads from here to Baramatu. But to be told, because these people are not saddled with the responsibility and compelled to ensure that if you love the office, they say if you cannot do the time, don't do the crime. If you know that you cannot serve, you cannot use the public facilities in Nigeria, then don't go to public offices. Until this bill is a brainer. And I say it with all sense of humor that Honorable Sekou should be apologized to, not just by the honorable members of his time, but by all Nigerians for campaigning to to be a lone voice at a precarious time as such. Trust me when I say Nigeria spends over $1 billion in the Ghanaian government, to the Ghanaian government for education per year. In the Ghanaian government just behind us. The same Ghanaian government that this administration, the leader, the president of this country at the time said Ghana must go and shifted them out of the country, they caused a nuisance. Today the economy is far buoyant and far better. The system is organized. So for crying out loud, we have a president who to me, in all fairness and with all due respect, has proven to be clueless, incompetent to the duty. After 6 months of sitting and doing nothing, we are able to bring back for the number of official political jobbers as our ministers. And this way it has landed us. Trust me, it is a very pathetic situation, but I tell you, ASU is not any better.
It's a very pathetic situation according to Comrade Chuba. Over to you now, Patience.
Right, thank you. Now, what negative impact do you think this ASU strike would cause on the Nigerian students?
The negative impact is obvious. We have more prostitutes on the streets. We have more criminals. We have more doso minds. We have more people who think that the get-rich syndrome is the only way to go. We have seen more ritual killings. We have seen more ritual attacks here and there. You've seen the video of ladies run mad, mental acts, demented in public spaces. We've seen some backing like dogs. I mean, these are the outcomes of a decision that is so-called leaders, both us, get me correctly, both us, the self-acclaimed righteous professors, and the government of the day have put the Nigerian populace. When we cry and we talk in this manner, we talk because posterity will be our judges. Fairly, we must always remember, no man can live a day longer than God has given to them. And it is painful that almost all our returning officers are professors. And professors will consciously return evil results that they know, collect money, and drag you and I to their quagmire. Today, look at all their lists that they're talking about. Is it for the Nigerian students? It's about the betterment of financial betterment of their staffs and members. But nobody wants to genuinely look at the bills that should put everybody on their toes. Will you sit at home and not teach your kids for over 4 months, 5 months, 8 months on grounds of your protest of your salary to be increased? And will you sit at home that somebody asks for an increment when this is a government that took $1 million at a time as such and gave it to the Afghanistan government, the Taliban of the Afghanistan government, with $10 million. This is the government. And at this point in time, look, these are serious issues, and ASU must understand that until we regulate these bills, every public office holder, whether you are teaching in a primary school, you have one bill. Look, you decide whether you want to work in the public sector or you want to be a private investor. If you are not a private investor, you must your words and family must take both medical and educational instructions here in Nigeria, unless under proper supervision and moderation. Hence, we cannot go further or go any better from where we are today.
Strong words coming there from Comrade Chuba, where he's even highlighting the fact that if we look at it critically, somebody like the Minister of Employment and Productivity, who happens to purchase the 100 million naira form, is also part of the whole process of negotiating between ASU. But let's take it over now to you, Chris.
Thank you so very much. Now, it's going to months since the ASU strike started, and then many people, especially the students, are of the opinion that the ASU policy could have been a major factor elongating the whole strike. What do you think about that, our guest?
Chris, ASU herself is not serious like the federal government isn't serious either. Strikes are meant to bring a government to reason. But do not forget, we saw how the ASU equally connected and connived with this administration when they were in opposition to go on protest in the Nigerian state. We did occupy Nigeria in this country. Many professors were involved, even the very respected Olesho at the time. Today, can anybody in good conscience with all boldness and temerity dare to walk on the streets on the grounds of that? The answer is a clear no. What are the demands of ASU? Go read them through. The demands of ASU, they are germane, they are fair. But how and the way Amanas is going about it, is it right? For me, it's a complete no. Secondly, ASU is pretending that they don't know, that they are talking to people that you can just imagine I'm talking to people that have no ears. Then you think that because they do not, you understand debate, the students will be in a better position to fight for what I think ASU is.
Wonderful thought there, Comrade Chuba. ASU needs to take a stand. ASU needs to restructure things and take new dimension to the approach concerning the strike. But let me hand over the baton now to Vivian. Vivian, let's take it up from here.
I was just going to ask Comrade Chuba, what do you suggest ASU do? But I think this is the first time that I'm hearing someone say ASU need to restrategize. Not just, I agree with restrategizing, a lot of people have been talking about. This comes across as a better option. ASU need to maximize the awakening of the Nigerian young people to go at it and ensure that, you know, they teach these students, they go into classrooms, you use the opportunity, you know, begin to sack them up. That's what you need to bring to bear what they are facing and what they need to do. Well, maybe, thank you, Comrade Chuba, maybe that would be a way out to hope that the right of people are listening and they can get on with that. But we'll have something very interesting at day. And that's on Funke Akindele becoming PDP's the governorship candidate. No, we didn't see that coming, but let's get to see what the story is about. The People's Democratic Party has selected Nollywood actress Funke Akindele as its deputy candidate for governor of Lagos State. The actress declared this in a video she posted on her verified social media page that she is running for deputy governor position. She has now been selected to serve as Olajide Adediran, also known as Jando, the PDP candidate for governor of Lagos State. The video she posted, she revealed her reasons for becoming a running mate. She said, I saw it as an opportunity to help liberate and improve the well-being of our people, particularly the deprived youth, women, and the girl child. My decision is not just to accept this huge responsibility, but to also work tirelessly and complement Jando's burning desire to see our dear Lagos live up to its full potentials. Meanwhile, when she said her name at the end of the video, the Korodu-born indigene of Lagos didn't include her husband's name, and that's JJC, Mr. Bello. Chuba, I'll come back to you. Chuba, I don't know, I'm trying to be careful here how not to say the wrong thing or overstretch what I'm trying to put. But nobody saw Funke Akindele coming into this point. We have never seen her being actually politically active. We know her as an actress. She's a super actress, as the case may be, renowned, and of course just got a nomination for Emmy 2022, if I'm not mistaken, just about a week ago. So nobody really saw Funke coming from the angle of politics. And not just politics, jumping over to become the PDP's deputy. I don't know, but let's get your stake on that.
Like you rightly said, I'll do my best to be careful with the words I will use because we're in public space and it's very important to know this. Growing up, political leaders were mentors, or meant to be mentors. Political leaders were meant to be role models. First, it was Tonto Dike that became the deputy governorship ADF. Yeah, River State. And now Funke Akindele. Funke Akindele is coming at the remote there though, and analysts will poked here and there, giving reasons why and why not. But I'm really being careful with the phrases I would love to spew out now. Is it that we do not have women of industry who have made their marks, who have that charisma, like the lies of the Konjiwala, that young ladies will see, or young men will see, and even old men will see. And from a glimpse, they want their kids, their daughters to be that way. Is it that we must bring women? Because it's like you see, before Chief Loveday left here, he made a statement. He said, what is about winning elections? And we are winning elections at all costs, not minding what it entails. Like you rightly observed, even in the post to the end, though the marriage is yet to be officially broken, the fourth marriage at that, the husband was not even mentioned. Now we're talking about, if we're talking about nomination for Ipman, the Nigerian movie industry, come on, fantastic people. But for crying out loud, for governance, is it where the APC government had brought us to, where it has become so low? Because if you look at our president,
it's a PDP.
You don't get to understand.
Okay.
If you look at government today, and you see your president, just anybody can vie for any office. And anybody can
Oh.
imagine to win. On Arise Television, a young lady, younger than myself, vying for the office of the Senate representative Central, was asked, what has struck you most in this election? She was taking her back and was saying, Tonga, I mean like me. Ruben Abati was taking her back because he could not connect, but because she had been able to get money from somewhere. We were in a country where people can get rich by miracle, magic, everything happens. Now, even people that are supposedly should not be called into office, they should not be discussed in leadership forums. They should be possibly anchors of programs, continue their entertainment work. They could do tomorrow. Where we are heading is where we look. Permit me to say this. Where we are heading is where tomorrow, when the pornography industry becomes an industry in Nigeria, we bring the pornography director to become our president. And it is normal because we want to just win the election, he has something to offer. The truth is, I just hope and pray that the people in the party does not just fail, it fails woefully, it doesn't come at all. The ATF does not just fail, it fails woefully, it doesn't come at all. So that after the elections, people like us can come out to say, one of the reasons these parties fail is the fact that they fail to realize. Look at the person of the deputy governor of River State. These are captains of industry who have made their marks. Whatever they do, however they play their politics, most importantly, people can look at them and want to liken them to. But everybody has a private life. But when that your private life has become an anathema to the public space, I do not think you are still fit to be called up in public space and the public duties of this level. For me, it's another goofing of the People's Democratic Party. It is one that should not be applauded because trust me, there's going to be a lambashing. Because people will come from different fronts. That is where we are today. But it does not obtain what is right and best for the Nigerian state coming from where we are. We are struggling with ritual killings. We are struggling with children not loving to go to school, and with an ASU strike that has been protracted. We are struggling with prostitution at its all-time highest. And what we are wanting to celebrate are people who see reasons to walk away. It's not your making. It's not your making, fine and good, but this is how life has drafted it. You do not expect us from where we stand, our viewpoint and philosophies, to come and applaud this type of announcement. And now I have told people we're not going to be politically correct. We just do analysis as fair as we can. For me, it's another good thing for the Democratic Party. I should not be applauded.
All right, Comrade Chuba. Speaking about being another goofy, I was actually going to point out the fact that earlier we had seen Tonto DK indicating interest, but these are not the first set of persons. I try to look at it from the angle of them being women. They are not the first people to leave entertainment industry and move into politics. We had the likes of Banky W, we had the likes of Desmond Elliott, and the rest of that. Now, when you look at these people, your judgment being that, okay, Funke Akindele might just have been another misplacement of priority by the PDP, choosing her as the deputy candidate to the governorship aspirant. Is it because she's had recent issues with her marriage? If those issues had not crop up in a couple of weeks back, would you have still taken the same stand you're taking now?
I would have taken my stance with or without her breaking up with UJC. The obvious remains that this is her fourth marriage. Look, we can pretend for what we care. We are not Europeans, neither are we Americans. We are Africans. And one of the problems we have had is because we have failed to understand and appreciate and accept our identities for what we